Welcome to Backstage with Becca B with special guest Shelley Regner. Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Backstage with Becca B. On this episode, you might have seen today's guest in all three Pitch Perfect movies, or you might have seen her on stage in shows like Cruel Intentions musical as Seal Caldwell, American Idiot, Scream at Rockwell, League of Their Own, Jennifer's Body, and much, much more. Please welcome Shelley Regner.
Hello! How are you?
Good. So good. Thanks for joining me on this.
Of course. Let me get everything kind of situated this way. It's like over there is not what I want you to see.
So I moved into my playhouse for like this thing.
Amazing.
Otherwise, there's a bunch of stuff like behind me and like my house that
right. I haven't even figured out. People do the picture thing. I'm like, I haven't figured that out yet. You just have to deal with it.
Yeah. People think this is like a green screen, and I'm like, no, it's my playhouse wall.
That's amazing. Well, it's perfect. You can do anything with it because it's basically a green backdrop.
Exactly. It's amazing.
Where are you these days? Are you still in California?
I'm in Dallas, Texas right now.
You're in Dallas. Okay. How's it going over there?
It's going good. I've been at my house like all the time. I haven't gone out at all.
Same.
Really.
Same.
How have you been?
Trying to keep creative and stay sane. Get my puppy here. So, that's definitely made things a lot better. And I'm now like the dog owner that's like, you want to go on another walk? Because like I can't stay in the house anymore.
And the dog's like,
Sometimes he is like, he's still a puppy, so he'll be like, yeah, sure. But he's actually kind of a lazy puppy. So like he'll walk for 5 minutes and be like, that was good. Let's go. Let's go back home. I took him to the dog park the other day and there was this little girl, just like 8 years old, and was like, oh, can I please pet him? And he would just sit with her, like sit for her. And she goes, your dog sits a lot. I was like, for a child to say that, I was like, yeah, that's my dog, basically.
Yeah. I mean, my dog doesn't walk, so I have to like drag her on walks. And I'm like, Angel, it looks like I'm abusing you.
Right? Please don't make me look bad.
Like, will you move your feet? Thank you.
Oh my goodness.
She's ridiculous.
Yeah. But otherwise, we're doing good. We're just trying to, stay as sane as possible and creative, and
Same.
Did this platform birth itself out of quarantine?
Creativeness. Yeah, I was trying to like think of ways to keep theater alive and stuff, and the conversation alive, and keep people interested and stuff. And
I know, it's so sad. I miss it. That's one of the things I miss so much. Just either like not even performing itself, like watching my friends perform live. I was like, oh man, I miss that. I
haven't been to a show in like 4 months.
Oh, I know. It's crazy. I mean, think about it. Like, it'll be December and it'll be like, when did I see everybody last? I don't know.
I never thought I could go this long without seeing the show.
Right? Girl. And like Zoom shows just aren't quite the same. Like,
that's what I've been
very
saying.
Cool that they can happen. Very cool that they're doing it. But not quite the same, that we love theater because it's that live, like in real time, you can like, that connection with people in the room.
That's what I've been saying.
Missed. Yeah, definitely missed. So
like the applause and people, the energy.
I know.
Everything.
Mm-hmm. We'll get there.
And the truffle fries at Rockwell.
Exactly. I was like, I might have to order myself some onion rings or something.
Yeah. Like Postmates.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. Oh man.
So anyways.
Yes.
Speaking of theater, when did you know that like you first wanted to be an actress, singer in theater?
Funny, it took me a little bit because I was a really shy child, if you can believe it. And I have no one can, but it's definitely true. Just ask my mother. And but I have an older sister, and she was always very, very outgoing. She did all the theater camps. She did all the camps, theater camp, horse camp, like any camp there was to have in a summer, she did them. And I always kind of like tagged along. And so she's really the one that got me interested in, musical style things, starting with like school plays and everything. And so when she was Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz at our school show, I was a munchkin, and I had one line, and that was like 5th grade for me. And so I think that's kind of when I got the bug of like, oh, I don't have to be scared to be in front of people, and I can, put myself into another person's shoes or another character. And so that's kind of when I started really diving into that world. And then, but when I actually thought I could do this as a career, it wasn't until I was like 17 or 18, and I took one of my first trips to New York. Obviously, I went to see Broadway, and I saw Wicked, and I saw Spring Awakening, Jersey Boys, and I would see all the Broadway shows that came to town in Louisiana, but it's nothing quite like being in the city, seeing everything. And I think it was Wicked and Spring Awakening because everyone was very close to my age. They were young adults, late teens, early 20s. And I'm watching people that could be my peers up on Broadway. And I was like, if they can do it, couldn't I do it? And that was kind of the time, I was like a senior in high school, and I was like, maybe I should give it a go. So yeah, probably 5th grade, got the bug, 18, thought maybe I could turn it into a living.
Hey, and you did.
And here we are.
Hey, what was the first theater show you saw?
The first one I saw, goodness, let me go way back. I think, goodness, we would always go to the theater called The Sanger in New Orleans. It's where all the Broadway shows came to town. Yeah. And I feel like it was either one of the two. It was either Beauty and the Beast or Phantom of the Opera. One of the two,
both good.
It was definitely a classic Broadway. But I remember being a little girl, and like my mom would take us with a few of, my little girlfriends, and we would all get glammed up. But I think it was Beauty and the Beast because I remember the big library scene and Belle like being in the middle, and I was like, oh, she's got such a beautiful voice. But if I might think differently, and I'll like in the middle of the interview be like, no, it was this.
Wait.
That's one of my first memories that I remember. It was either like Beauty and the Beast or Phantom of the Opera.
The first time I saw Phantom of the Opera was last year.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I think I've seen it like 3 times total. It never gets old, and then like, if you see it at different phases of your life, it has a different, like, you just notice different things. And I think the first time I saw it, I was actually scared because, it was kind of scary. And this guy with a burned face, and he's like hiding in the opera house. It's so kind of dark and gloomy. And then I think I saw it when I was a teenager, and I just fell in love with Sarah and was like, oh my God, the chandelier and the masquerade.
So
and then the movie comes out, and you're like, Gerard Butler is my favorite.
Yes.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So can take on a different meaning depending on what age you are when you see it.
Yeah, I can see that. If you're young, it induces
it's a little dark and scary.
yeah, for sure. So how did you get involved with the LA theater community?
Oh goodness. I moved out here in 2012, and I knew a few, film people, but what was wonderful is that, half those people crossed over into the theater world. And it was really due to Topher Rees-Lawrence that I went and saw. They did a Spring Awakening concert with Love is Louder, and that Brittany Snow is a co-founder of, and so I went to see the show, and I think that's how I kind of met a few of those people who very well now. Yeah. We all perform together, and it was really Topher had called me a couple months later when they were doing Bear, the rock opera, and was like, hey, we need a swing if you can fill in for a role. And that's was kind of the launching pad. My gosh, what was that, 6 years ago or something now? Almost 7 years ago. And that's really when I kind of met, you realize that half the same people when you work with certain people. And so that was really kind of one of the launching pads to be in the Los Angeles theater community. And from that, got to meet a bunch of people at the Rockwell and worked with, I would go to open calls too, things like 5-star theatricals and 3D theatricals, all the LA scene, just because it's in my blood. It's something that if I go too long without it, I definitely feel that like thing in my gut yearning for it, and I'll seek it out. Exactly. It's a bit of a drug for me.
So right now is like miserable.
Oh, it's crazy. I'm truly trying to stay sane as possible. My mom calls me and she follows like the Seth Rudetsky and everything online. She has gotten really like internet social through retirement, and she'll be like, Megan Hilty's on this tonight. Norm Lewis is singing on this tonight. You should join. It's only $20. Let's do it.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, she's obsessed with it. So if she was out here, she'd be sitting at the table with you at every performance.
Yes,
You'd have a friend for life, definitely.
I'd be down. Yeah, my mom texted me this morning and like ran into someone's cousin or something from Hamilton in Dallas, and I was like, oh, okay.
Okay, no big deal.
I'm like, interesting. Cool. She's like, do you know who this is? I'm like, I think so, yeah.
Probably, yeah. I probably watch all the videos.
I was going to say, people still talk about Bear constantly, by the way, on social media. I see it all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm so sad I didn't see it.
Oh, you didn't?
No, I didn't.
Oh my goodness.
I wasn't in LA yet.
Interesting. Isn't that funny once you like meet people and you just assume they've always been here? Oh, wow. It was definitely just a magical show. It's such a, I mean, no matter what age you are, you can connect to that show. And I actually, a friend of mine in college introduced me to the soundtrack when the original run. And my gosh, this was like 2006 or 2007. And so I knew the music when Topher called me and asked if I wanted to, be a part of this. And they were like, wow, you're such a quick study. You already, like, I can't believe you know the music already. And I was like, yeah, totally. It was, I just learned it really, really quick. Yeah. I was like, I already knew all of the music. I just had to learn a couple of harmonies and that was it. So to be part of the project, and some of the original cast members got to come and see the show, and I was actually I was swinging for Katie Stevens' role because she had just booked.
Was it Faking It?
Faking It, thank you. I was like Almost Famous. I don't remember what the show. She had just booked Faking It, and they were filming, I believe, the pilot, and it just so happened that it was like the opening weekend. She was like, I can't do it, and so I filled in for her, and obviously it's like opening weekend is not one you want to miss, but I'm obviously very grateful that I got to be a part of the excitement of opening that show. And so a couple of the original cast members and the original director Kristen Hange was there, and so it was just really, really cool. It was kind of a reunion of sorts, and obviously it's a very heavy and emotional show, and so when you really share that kind of relationship and that connection with people, whether it's personal or through theater, you kind of already feel like you know each other at the end of curtain call when you meet all these people. So it was an exciting time, and I don't know if it was filmed or anything. I'm like, yeah, we'll have to get you a video or something.
Yeah, I think there's like clips online that I've seen, but very few, and you don't really like get the whole story from it. You get that it's emotional.
Right. Oh yeah, it's a journey, definitely, but it was one of my favorites. It's one I'll always hold dear to my heart.
Well, 2021 revival maybe when theater comes back.
Would love it. I mean, I don't know if I can play like 14 anymore, 16. Makeup does wonders. It's fine.
It's fine. Yeah, well, I think the first show I actually saw you in was Cruel Intentions.
Wow. Yeah, that was 5 or 6 years ago now. That's crazy.
That was like 5 years ago. And my friend was just like, do you want to go to Rockwell for the show? I was like, sure. I love theater. I've Never been there. So how did you get involved with Cruel Intentions and get cast as Seal?
So that's a funny story. When I had moved out to LA, I actually auditioned for, it was a random audition that I had found online. And I auditioned for these women that were doing a thesis of a Twilight parody musical at, Loyola Marymount. And so it was funny, me and my roommate, we were like, we're not doing anything. It was like a summer project or something. So the director of that show was actually the original music director for Cruel Intentions, and she knew Jordan, and she had recommended me. And so Jordan Ross and I had never met, and he's texting me and was like, hey, I've got this role for you. You come highly recommended. If you're interested, I can send you the info. And I was like, yeah, absolutely. I'll just hop on. And obviously, Katie Stevens was in it. And so I was like, well, I'd worked with her previously, so I, knew a couple of the people that were involved. And and the rest was history. And we were planning to do a 3-night preview, if you remember, at the Rockwell, and had no intention of it kind of going any further. I mean, we fingers crossed, who knows what would happen, but we were just like, cool, this will be a fun project. And then cut to, it's, now it's playing in high school auditoriums before the shutdown, but, it's been on tour, it's been in New York. I just, we never expected any of the journey that it's had, but so I was very grateful to be part of the original project.
Still one of my favorite shows I've seen.
It was a great time. It's one of those where like everyone involved in in the original process just couldn't have been better fitted for everything. It was one of those where everything just like meshed really, really easily. Everyone got along really well, and everyone was so well suited for their role. And so it wasn't work. It was fun.
Yeah. I'm so glad I saw it in LA. Like, I'm sure all the other casts are great, but nothing like the LA cast.
Well, thank you.
Nothing like that cast. And Laurel G89 asked, what was your most memorable moment from being in Cruel Intentions?
From being in Cruel Intentions? Oh man, there's so many, but the one that always sticks out in my mind is, in our version, because definitely in the New York version, they had some musical rights, switch ups. But when I sang Two Become One and singing and like trying to woo Constantine Rassouli, it was so hard to keep a straight face half the time, because I would just do these outrageous, sexy moves, Cecile moves. And it was just always, every night you would just take it a step further and step further. And so that's definitely one of those favorite memorable moments for me.
Yeah, no, I remember just like dying out laughing when I first saw it.
It's just ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous.
It was amazing.
Which is my bread and butter. The crazier you want me to go, I'll
do it
and beyond.
Sign me up. I think there's like a video, or was a video when videos were online of it, of
right.
when videos were online of it, of Lindsay cracking up in the audience.
That was the best part. It was like at a certain point, it was just what crazy things can we do to make each other break on stage? Or that was always fun too. The kiss me moment with anyone, but Lindsay Pierce and I, when she was playing the role, we've worked together for so long that we have such a connection on stage, and I love our chemistry together, and we just die laughing. Like, I think that's one of my favorite things to do when Lindsay and I are performing together, is like try to see if I can make her crack, because she's such a pro that like if I get her to laugh on stage, it's like then I know I did something really funny.
And then you've done how many other shows with Lindsay? Like 3 other shows with Lindsay?
Oh my gosh, what have we done together? We did
American Idiot.
We did American Idiot together. We've done Cruel Intentions. We've done so many more. We did Bear. Bear is where we met. We've done, oh my goodness, what else?
Almost Famous?
Yes, Almost Famous. Yes. I played her mother.
Yes.
Jennifer's Body, obviously.
Oh yeah.
I think that's the last one we did together was Jennifer's Body. And then, of course we've done plenty of like cabaret shows and different fundraiser shows together. But maybe five or six shows total.
Y'all just work really well together.
I just love her. She's my sister. I love it.
It's like powerhouses on stage together. Overwhelming talent.
I know. I literally, she obviously booked Elphaba at the beginning of the year and was on for like a week, and then we all shut down. And I was like, you better be going back because you will be the reason I've seen Wicked for the 1,000th time.
Wait, how many times have you seen it?
Wicked. Oh goodness, probably. I think 5. I did. Okay. The first time was New York. I've seen it like 3 times in Louisiana. Every time it came in, I would like grab somebody new to be like, you haven't seen it, we're going. And then I treated my friends, my roommates 2 years ago when it was it 2 years ago or a year ago at the Pantages?
I don't know what year it is right now.
That was the most recent where both the girls I was living with had not seen it. And one was, didn't surprise me because she's not like huge into musicals that much, but the other one, like, we did musicals growing up and in college, and she's such a musical gal that was like, you haven't seen Wicked? I was shocked. So I was like, okay, this is obviously, I know what I'm getting everyone for Christmas. We're going to see. So I think 5 total, maybe 6 if I'm forgetting one.
I can see it 500 times.
Right?
Yeah. So how did you get involved with American Idiot later that year? Wasn't it 2015?
Yes, it was 2015. Yeah. And Glory Struck Productions, who did Bear and the Spring Awakening concert that I saw. I've done more with them, right? They did Almost Famous. They were the producers, Topher and Jamie, of American Idiot, and it was a slew of the same people that I'd worked with before, and they contacted me and said, "Hey, we're gonna do the show. Do you want to be a part of it?" And I love rock music. I love Green Day, and I think I'd seen it once previously, and so I was like, "Oh my gosh, it just seems like so much fun," and I love that music. It was the sweatiest show of my life. I did not stop moving the entire time. And I was in the best shape probably.
I was going to say, how long did it take to get the choreography for it down?
Oh my gosh, Jin Eunjin, she's a beast at choreography, and like she does not go easy on you. She's like, you will learn these moves and you'll get it. We will practice and repeat, and like, it's going to be super high intensity, it's going to be super fast, but I believe in you all and you can do it. And we would be like in her studio, like her garage studio in the backyard, and we're just like pouring sweat because I think it was like near summer or like the end of summer, so it was like May or something like that. It was like the sun was beating. We're just doing all these moves and head banging. But it was a blast.
Like water.
And of course I love dancing. I grew up dancing, so it was no problem for me. But when we we would do a number at a time, but when we started doing run-throughs, that's when I really understood that I was like, oh, I never stopped moving, because we did it in a warehouse. They turned a warehouse in downtown LA into a theater space. To this day, I don't know how they did it, but they made it work. And so it wasn't like, it wasn't like there was a proper backstage area or, like you would see in a proscenium theater. So once we would get off stage, we were running around, we were running through the audience, we were running, you saw us running to the back, changing clothes really quick, running back out to do another high energy number because it's a rock show. And so, I had short hair then. So by the time the end of the show happened, like I looked like I just got out of the shower.
Like, workout done.
And truly, I did not have to do my cardio for the day because the show was my cardio.
I think I need a dance teacher like the choreographer you described.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. No, she will make you work.
Terrible at it. Terrible. And then which unauthorized shows have you done? Because you've done Scream. I know they've kind of changed up over the years, but you've done Scream.
Yeah.
League.
I did Scream. I did League of Their Own. I did Cruel.
Cruel was kind of
Unauthorized. Yeah. It started unauthorized. Yeah. And what else have I done? There's another one. Gotta pull out my resume. There's just been so many things.
Wait.
Quarantine has washed my brain.
Yeah.
That might be it, to be honest. That might be all of the unauthorized shows that I've done. If I'm forgetting one, I feel terrible.
Well, I mean, Jennifer's Body, maybe, kind of.
Yes, unauthorized. That's unauthorized
It's
too.
a little different, but like it's like different.
I don't know.
It wasn't Rockwell.
It wasn't Rockwell. We did that one at El Cid. So 4 total?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think 4 total. Which they're so much fun.
Yeah. So which role has been your favorite in those besides, let's take Rule Intentions out of the mix.
Yeah. Jennifer's Body was great. That one was really fun. Just because like she's such a character and it's such a silly cult classic movie that like it deems itself to be an unauthorized musical parody. And it was just fun to play kind of the villain, you know. I always enjoy, for some reason, I've always played really well kind of either the mistress roles or like kind of the villain, you know, more of a sassy, like sneaky character. But I think it's just because that's not really who I am in my being. So it's fun to kind of play the flip side of, you know, who you are in daily life. And of course I got to play with Lindsay Pierce and then my boyfriend Nick got to be in that one too. And so that was, you know, it's just fun. It's really, I think for me, it's always about the people and the family that you create in the show and, you know, on and off stage. And when it's a really good mix of people, and that's what I love about the LA theater scene is that everyone that's in it right now, both people that I know and don't know, they're all amazing people. And so when you get to like meet someone new and like add them to the family, or if you're added to a family, it really is. It is a family, you know, and I think that's true for anywhere you are in the world of, you know, that's why we do these projects. That's why we collaborate together, because when you're working for a common goal, whether it's a musical or whatever project you're on, you know, you spend so much time and you're pulling your hair out and you're not getting sleep and then you're laughing and you're delirious. You share these memories that will last forever.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the LA theater community is definitely, you get the family vibe even from being in the audience.
Yeah, well, I think that's been the one of the craziest things for me to wrap my head around is that when I moved to LA, I was 23. And Los Angeles is a huge city. I came from the capital city in Louisiana, but it wasn't the biggest city, you know, it's Baton Rouge. Like I knew everybody there for the most part. I grew up, you know, 20 something years of my life. There wasn't a street corner that I couldn't go to where I didn't run into somebody. And so from going from that to a major city where I only knew a handful of people, all these doubts and fears are in your mind. Am I going to fit in? Am I going to meet people? Are people going to like me? Am I going to get any work? And then when you realize that, like, when you know, find yourself in that community, especially the theater community, you realize how small the web is, you know, and it extends to New York. It extends to Chicago. It extends all over the world where you're just like, oh, you know what? The world is actually a lot smaller than you think if you know, kind of find the right people and you find your niche.
Yep, it is. Yeah. Reasons we see the same people in most of the shows. Yeah.
Exactly.
And did you and Nick meet when doing after hours for TikTok?
We did. That's how we met. Well, okay, he'll tell you a different story. Let me explain. So what I remember is always a his and hers, right? We were both cast in the musical Tick, Tick, Boom that After Hours Theater was putting on, and that was in 2016. And that's what I recall. I know.
Whoa.
Right? It doesn't seem like that long, but it was. But that's when I recall meeting Nick. And he will tell you that we met years before at an acting workshop in Burbank. And it was something, I think I had just finished Pitch Perfect 2, and he heard me talking to a friend that I ran into, and I guess he recognized me, and he just like came up and paid me a compliment saying like, hey, loved you in the Pitch Perfect movies, you know, you do a great job. And I was like, oh, thanks, what's your name? And we met, and that was it. And so, but I don't remember.
And that's what Nick remembers. Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
In fairness, he just looked completely different from when I met him like a year and a half to 2 years later. And so it was like, it didn't register the same in my brain. But he likes to make fun of me where he's like, well, you don't remember the first time
like how
we really met.
Oh.
So, but when we really connected and formed a relationship, you know, a friendship first, was during Tick Tick Boom.
Yeah,
and obviously we
other.
played love interests, and then we did another show with After Hours. I believe it was the same year. I Love You Because, and it was like, right?
Already 4
Maybe
years
it was the year after. And and we played love interests again, and that was the time where it was like, I don't know, we're just spending a lot of time together, and we like each other. Maybe we'll go on some dates and figure this out. And cut to, we're still together today, and you know, we'll see. We're not going to get core engaged, is what we're calling it.
And you all
talked
sing
about
really
it. We
well
got
together.
What's that?
You all sing really well together, so.
Thank you. We do. I know, it's nice. I think we probably developed a bit of a talent crush.
Yeah.
Into the real crush.
Yes. I mean, the first time I watched you all on stage together, I loved those shows. Both those shows. There's a question from not the Katie Stevens you know, but apparently Katie Stevens 31. How do you get auditions, and how do you prepare for them?
I get auditions in a number of ways. You know, it's interesting, especially now with everything being digital. It's just, you can kind of get them all kinds of ways. But when I started, I signed up for Actors Access and now casting, all the casting sites, because I just wanted to be in the know. I wanted to know what was going on. And you know, if you have an agent, you know, hopefully they are able to procure opportunities and auditions for you. And for me, a huge way that I mainly get auditions is through the relationships that I already have. What's great is that, you know, a lot of people that I know and work with are working on their own projects, or they're, you know, and that's really, you know, when people say like, it's who you know, I don't think I ever really understood that meant like, well, it's just like the friends that you know. I always tried to work so hard I got to know everybody all around, you know, and it's very easy to spread yourself very thin, and it's exhausting when you're just trying to know everybody, trying to like keep a good face and trying to reach out. And really it's in your backyard, you know, it's right in your pocket of the close friends you have, if they are creators or collaborators, if they're actors or singers or producers. Everyone's got a talent, even if it hasn't been unlocked yet. And you know, even in yourself, you know, I'm kind of discovering, I'm trying to write a little more during the quarantine. And so it's things like that where you think about who you know, of who you would want to work with, who I would want to, you know, if I'm writing something and I can't think of a character trait or something, I'll think of one of my friends and be like, oh, I like that thing that they do, and I'll add that on the page. And so really the biggest thing, open calls too. Open calls is how I got my start. It's how I got into Pitch Perfect.
I was going to ask that, because were you still in Louisiana when you got?
I was still in Louisiana, and I had just graduated college, you know, about 5 months prior. And my music and dramatic arts department, you know, I was still on like the email list, and they were like, hey, this production is going to do an open call for ages, you know, 18 to 25. And I was like, well, I guess that means people that have graduated too. I just went and showed up, thought I was going to audition to be like a background extra or something. So it's really, you know, I think people get scared about open calls because it's a lot of people that show. It's an open call. Anyone can come. Yeah. But if you're right for the role, if you have that spark, if you're, you know, if it's your time, show up, because you just never know what opportunity is going to come from even meeting people, even meeting the other people that are auditioning at that open call. You never know what they're doing. You never know, hell, pardon me, I don't know. I don't know if you can get, sometimes you're waiting there for hours just to get seen for 2 minutes. And if you love it, it's worth it. But when you're waiting there for hours, you make like 5 new friends, and then, the rest is history. And then maybe like they're going to be part of something that they'll call you about later on. It's all pieces of a puzzle that in hindsight will fit, whether that's, a week later, whether that's 10 years later. You never know where you show up, or, when you bring forth your best effort and your best work, it always pays off at some point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think those are my biggest ones. So the acting websites, Actors Access, that's the main one I use. I really like that one because it kind of encompasses everything that you're going to see everywhere else. But get online, see what's out there, open calls. If you have an agent, hopefully they're getting you some opportunities that you're not able to get yourself. And then, the relationships that you currently have, that's
always
my long-winded answer.
No, even behind the scenes, relationships with people you have.
Absolutely. Oh my goodness. There's so many people, behind the scenes, whether it's a camera, whether it's stage, where everyone is looking for help. Everyone's looking for work, and they're looking for people to help. And so if you know somebody, and be nice to everybody, because if you're nice to work with, you will continue to work.
The amount of times I text Brian for advice a day is,
it's the truth.
Yeah.
Always working. He's always working.
He is.
Yeah.
He's the best. From Valerie Jordan Berry, has being on stage helped you with being on camera and vice versa?
Yes. Short answer. I started on stage, and what's nice, they're very different mediums, obviously. But I think one kind of begets the other. For me, being on stage really helps because it's all live, with being present, and which transfers on screen, because when you're on screen, you're stopping and starting a lot more than you are doing a full length, production, where you'd go from start to the end all in sequence. And so it's really, on film, it can be very difficult and a bit jarring to, if you have to drop into an emotional breakup scene, but you were just eating lunch with the crew, how do you get there? And so I think theater has really helped in the act of being present, the act of getting prepared your moments before. But I think vice versa, where, if you're able to do that scene by scene and stop and start in film, then you can transfer that over on stage and be able to do that from start to finish. So yeah, I think they really do work hand in hand. And really the biggest adjustments that I've had to learn from both is that I'm a big person as it is, if you couldn't tell, where I'm loud, I'm gestury, I make crazy animated facial expressions, and that is fantastic for on stage, because that's going to reach the person all the way in the back of the building. But when you're on camera, that's been my challenge for being on camera. When you've got a close-up that's this close to your face, you don't have to use all of this stuff. It looks absolutely crazy. And so I think that's been my biggest learning curve, applying to the camera, where it's oh, you don't have to work as hard. And I never really understood that. Not that being loud and boisterous for me is hard work. It's actually harder. It's actually harder work for me to kind of maintain, tone it down.
Yes.
Yeah, but I definitely think both definitely help one and the other.
Since the industry is known for being tough, how do you work on self-confidence?
Ooh, girl. It is tough. It is. No, it is tough. That's something that definitely comes from within. It's very, very hard. I'll be honest, I've had my personal struggles with being in Los Angeles. It can happen anywhere, but my personal experience is being in Los Angeles, and you have, I think the biggest thing to take away, which is easier said than done always, but you cannot compare yourself to other people. And it's a lesson I've had to learn, because when you do, you'll start getting in this idea of trying to be someone you're not. I'm a 5'6", like curvy, loud girl, and I'm not going to be the like 5'1", size 0, Barbie doll figure that people are going to be chirping in your ear, that you got to look a certain way, that you have to act a certain way, that your hair needs to be a certain style or color or anything. And if it's not true to you, it's not going to work. And that's something that, like, you have to find that yourself. And you have to discover that. And I think that only happens when you kind of go through those struggles and internal struggles. But just really trusting yourself. I mean, I'm a self-help junkie. I will read all the book, like You're a Badass book, Get Your Shit Together book, like, pardon me for cussing. You can
I need
out
recommendations.
Oh, girl, I will send you a
Yes.
list, because I am all about it. I'm all about female empowerment, especially with young adolescent girls. I think it's something too of maybe how you grow up. Like, I grew up as like a chubby, like ugly, I had like a 10-year ugly duckling phase from like 7 to 17. And you're going to think I'm joking, and I am not. I had huge glasses, like my skin was broken out. My teeth were crazy crooked. My hair was like, my hair never did anything I wanted it to do. And, but like, I always viewed my friends, and I'm sure my friends growing up would say the same things about themselves, but I saw them as goddesses, and I saw myself as not. And so that's when I say it starts from in here, and it starts from in your gut, where, you gotta practice that. Confidence is practice, and you gotta, those affirmations. I'm all about affirmations, because if you say it enough times, you will believe it. And it's something, I think it's something, no matter what age you are, no matter what stage in life you're in, you're going to have your different struggles. I think, like, I'm personally in a stage where I really like myself. I'm starting to like myself. It's not that I don't have those insecurities or doubts the same as everyone else, but I'm kind of like over people telling me what I need to be or what I need to do. It's like, no, I got it.
Yes.
I've done all that. It didn't work for me. So I'm going to play by my rules now. And you can hop on the train, or like, we don't need to work together. And it's that confidence. It's that empowerment. And it's like, I think when you're young, you're scared of it because it might sound mean. It might sound bitchy. It might sound harsh, but you think about it where you're like, well, guys do that all the time, and they're rewarded for it, and they are called strong and opinionated for it. Why can't we do the same thing? Yes. Come on, ladies, let's make it happen. We're going to work together. We're going to build each other up. And so it's really, it is always, it's always going to be something to work on. I think, it's not something where you'll feel good one day and you feel like you've nailed it and you've got everything, you've got the answer, and then something happens and it knocks you right back down. You got to keep getting up. You got to keep speaking kindly to yourself, positively to yourself. And that's really, those are the things that have helped me personally out here in this, especially in this industry where everything is very, on the surface. I don't want to say shallow. It's not shallow, but it is on the surface where, everyone can make a judgment about you based on a picture, based on something you say, but we're all living in that world. We're in a social digital world where, my goodness, I couldn't imagine growing up with Instagram and Facebook, the way kids are today.
They're growing up too fast.
And we say that year after year, but it is, I think it's something where you're just exposed to more. at a younger age. And so it's really, really important, I think, especially for kids, you know, for people that they are inspired by, for their role models, you know, to really grab on to those type of positive characteristics, to, you know, to really be confident in yourself, so that the, you know, things that come your way, whether it's a bully, whether it's negativity, no matter what it is, you can be confident enough in yourself to know where you stand.
Yes. And I don't think people realize that everyone's comparing themselves to others in some aspects. Yeah. It's not only them. They think
it's not only you, and it's not only your age. You know, you've got men and women ages from, you know, ages 10 up to ages 70 that are comparing themselves because it's all in your face. How do you not is the question. But that's the work that you have to do to really stay grounded and make sure, you know, that you know who you are and what you stand for and what you believe. And that's hard. It's hard to do when, you know, if you feel something different than what everybody else is telling you to do or to be. But, you know, if you keep that work up, if you keep those positive self-affirmations and that self-talk, and you be kind to yourself, you'll get there. You'll win.
Yes. So lighter question.
Yeah. Girl, I could talk about that stuff all day. But you better stop me.
Oh no. I've been, part of the reason I created this was because I'm trying to get into the space where I stop judging myself for just like not doing enough.
Absolutely.
Or
girl,
something.
I'm there too. It's funny. I'm sitting here in quarantine. There is nothing to do. Yeah. And because nothing is going on, nothing's in production, nothing, like businesses aren't open. And I'm still thinking to myself, you're still not doing enough. You're not doing enough. So therefore you aren't enough. Therefore you're not good enough. And it's like, where's all this coming from?
Doing it.
Hush that girl down. She needs to sit down and go have a cocktail. Okay.
Yeah. No one's doing anything. So
exactly.
If you could bring back any Broadway show or be in any Broadway show that's going on right now, what role would you play in what show?
Ooh, okay. So it's one of two ideas with the same show. I'm not of the age range to play anything in the show yet, but if I could go back in time, I would play Natalie in Next to Normal. But then now I'm just kind of waiting another like 15 years so that I can play Diana in Next to Normal. I love that show. I absolutely love that show. I remember my mom got me the soundtrack for Christmas the year it came out. And I think it was like 3 years later, I finally saw the show. And so I knew all the words, and it was the week it was closing on Broadway. And so it was like the original cast, and I'm there in the back row, like a crazy person. I mean, like my whole row is with one of my best friends, and like, you know, he's sensitive too, but he was not anywhere near on my level. And I was just, and then like, I think like Broadway World or somebody was outside doing interviews, and they caught me and they were like, come here. They were like, what did you think of the show? And I was like, it was amazing. I loved it so much. It was crazy. I think it's gotta be on YouTube.
Yeah, somewhere. I was like, is this online?
I'm just like a nutcase. That is one of my all-time favorite shows, because I've dealt with anxiety and depression, you know, majority of my life. I don't like advertise that a lot. I'm not ashamed of it, and I don't, I won't not talk about it. But it's just something that like I don't want it to define me. Yeah. That like I am more than my anxiety and my depression. But I had never seen a show that talked so openly about mental health and mental illness. And that's one of the reasons I fell in love with it, because it was like, oh my gosh, I'm watching someone, also the music's awesome, but I'm watching someone go through this journey, this mental journey that like is so taboo. It was totally taboo at the time. And think about even like 10 years, decades before, you would never talk about something, let alone show it to thousands of people. And I just fell in love with it. So that's one that if I could bring that back to Broadway, that would be there.
And the creators of it have other stuff that's just as deep now in present day.
No, I know. Like, and I love that.
TV.
I love that because it makes you feel less alone. It makes you feel like you're not a crazy person. I deal with these things too. Other people deal with these things, and and I can put it to really awesome music and sing about it.
Yes. How do you think live theater will be different when it's able to come back safely?
Oh man.
Another deep question.
Yeah. Gosh, I wish I had a definitive answer because we just don't know. I don't know if like the productions itself will be different because, I think there's two sides to the story where people are like, will anybody go back to these shows? And I really think that people are, once we're able to open and get back to some sense of normalcy, like we're all going to be packing ourselves into theater houses, into arenas when it is safe, because that is something we love to do. That is an escape for people. That is entertainment for people. And it's art. You're never going to stop. Art's never going to stop for anything, to be honest, whether people show up or not. It's creativity is ever evolving, ever flowing.
It hasn't stopped right now.
It hasn't stopped. No, people are going to find a way to bring it to life. But we might see something where maybe there's smaller casts of, depending on like working guidelines, in the immediate future. But, to be honest, I think most productions, most people, most entertainment are going to hopefully and try to go back to, its sense of normalcy. I think the biggest change you'll see is probably behind the scenes in terms of working guidelines, work ethic, inclusivity, things like that, where those are changes for the better and not anything, that shouldn't have already happened,
Hopefully no face shields in every theater.
I think masks are probably going to be around for a while. But hey, who knows?
But for the performers, hopefully
might
no
be
face
doing
shields for
masks
the
with, So I don't know, I wish I had an answer, but I think time will tell and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, for sure. Hopefully it gets back sooner than later.
Yeah, I know.
I miss it
oh
so
my goodness,
much.
I miss it.
And because I'm not sure how much you can talk about Pitch Perfect and stuff, because I know there's rules with stuff. But
Okay,
we
can talk about it. We'll see. Ask a question. We'll see.
I mean, it's just kind of a general question because I know people want to hear about Pitch Perfect.
Sure.
So, when you got cast in it, did you ever think that it would become as big of a thing that it was and get 3 movies?
No, absolutely not. When I got cast, first of all, I didn't even think I was gonna get cast in any like role whatsoever. I thought I was gonna work like a day on set and get some experience and like do something cool. And I got cast and worked like 40 days on a movie and created these relationships with like Hollywood veterans that I'd been watching for the last 10 years of my life. And but we never thought it would gain a sequel, let alone a trilogy. So it's really, I don't know if you ever should expect that. It should probably be like a really awesome and pleasant surprise if that is something that can come about, and that's really a testament to the fans and the people that showed up to support the movie and the music and, everything about the production. And so it's like, it's because people showed up. It's because people liked it that we were able to continue and do 2 more movies, which is amazing. And we, you see it in various interviews. All the girls say we would do it forever. We'd show up again and again and again because we truly love each other. We love the project. We love what it stands for, especially in a world that's, trying to empower women and female filmmakers and producers and directors and actors and And so we love what it stands for. We love that people love to watch it and love the characters that everyone has created. And so, yeah, but no, we never expected that it would, that we would be working.
Wow.
I mean, I think we filmed the third one in 2017, which was 6 years later than we filmed the first one in 2011. If you would have told us in like October of 2011 that we would still be working on this, 6, 7, 8 years later, we would have thought you were absolutely nuts and you were joking. Like it was a bad joke. Don't toy with our emotions. So yeah, it's amazing that we got to.
Do you have a favorite mashup from the movies?
Yeah, I think I always have a special place for the finale of the first movie. It was I don't know, it was like the build of it. And, we worked really, really hard on that number. And it changed a lot, the evolution. People don't realize, like we were doing like 4 and 5 weeks of boot camp before we even started filming. And so we would learn all the music and we would learn all the choreography, and like day to day it could change where we would get done with an 8-hour day. We would finish. This literally happened. We finished the finale number and we like had practiced all the notes and the music, and we're like, oh my gosh, we got it. And we show up the next day and they were like, they want to change stuff. We're getting a different song. Okay, it's fine. We can do it. But it's such a fast pace. And I love that kind of stuff. Again, I grew up dancing and grew up singing. It's like you throw me into the ambush of choreography and rehearsals and I am the happiest person. So yeah, I love the finale of the first one. And then, but for the second one, when they told us we were going to sing Who Run the World from Beyonce, of course, I flipped out because I'm one of Beyonce's like number one fans, obviously. Who isn't?
Or number one fan.
or number one.
Or number one.
I'm just trying to be humble,
You're like, I'm definitely number one.
I don't know if you can see this, my thing on my counter. It says you have the same hours in a day as Beyonce.
Then definitely number one fan.
Yeah. And I used to have, my mom got me, this is crazy. Let's go into my crazy mode. So right here, because I'm actually reading it right now, but I have a book called Becoming Beyonce that I think my mom gave to me as a joke. Like being like, you love her, here's a big biography book, but like she sits here on my counter.
You're like, I have notes from the book.
Yeah, exactly. It's like she's my inspiration. I gotta know everything.
Where's my notepad so I can write down this important note about becoming Beyonce?
Yeah, if you know me, if you're worried about getting me any gift or anything, show up with something Beyonce and I will be totally happy.
Fantastic. You're going to get a ton of Beyonce gifts now.
Right. I got to start my own room
Beyonce.
And collection.
It's going to be fantastic. So if you could write a fourth Pitch Perfect movie, what would the plot be about?
Oh, wow. That's a great question.
If
I could write a plot. Oh, man. I don't know. I think it would be something I would really love. I don't know what the plot would be, but I would really love for the guys to come back. We had so much fun doing like the Bellas and the Troublemakers that if we could kind of figure out some competition or maybe we do some kind of collaboration at some point in the movie. I don't know how it would, I don't know what the plot would be, but we all just had so much fun together on the first one that like, I'm such a nostalgia nut that maybe it would be something of like, let's relive our senior year of college, or I don't know. I don't want it to be like a stereotypical reunion movie, but I don't know. Maybe, who knows? There's so many possibilities because you gotta map out where the characters are now and like what age range we're in and what we're all doing. Have we all stayed connected? But then you got to create the drama. So like maybe somebody's mad at somebody and we got to like bring the group back together. Who knows? I I don't know. I'll have to think more on that question, but that's a great question.
And then lastly, have you been working on anything in quarantine that you'd want to promote, or like, have you come up with like new craft or anything?
Yeah. I'm, things I want to promote. Well, we've been doing like a quarantine, short film kind of thing. Me and Nick, and then our roommate Presley put out a short video called Sneak Attack.
Yeah.
And it was something that I follow the director and producer, Paul Feig or Feig. Never met him personally, so I don't know how you actually say it. But he has a production company called Powder Keg TV. And I saw that they were like, hosting a shut-in film festival. And so I was like, oh, that would be fun to do. So we made like an in-the-house short film and created these like kooky characters and this, sneak attack competition. And so it's like a 5-minute video that we posted on YouTube and sent to this film festival just to see what would happen. And we had so much fun doing it that we're trying to like do a couple more videos. So stay tuned. We're going to do some more silly, like quarantine in-house videos.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. Well, what's funny is it kind of started because I have a collection of wigs in my closet. There's something else you don't know. I have a costume closet that I have been hoarding since I was like 12. But I just have all these wigs lying around, and I was like, let's just put on a bunch of wigs and do something silly. And that's kind of how it all came about. So
you become a producer of sorts.
Yeah, maybe that's my hidden talent. Maybe I'm producing and I just haven't quite known it yet. But I have some things in the works that, still kind of dear to me, so I don't want to share, but I'm trying to work on a new script. And I'm sorry if you just heard my dog bark. I
had to kick my dog out, so.
Yeah. I know he's a mama's boy, and so he loves to be right here, but I think he's getting a little stir crazy now. He's like, it's time to go outside. But yeah, I have a script that I'm working on that hopefully sometime in the future I will be able to, you'll be the first to know. I'll give you the exclusive, but hopefully, fingers crossed, we can see maybe like post-quarantine what might happen. But that's a new thing for me. I'm trying to stay creative and try to write and, do things for me and my friends to be able to collaborate together.
Yes. Well, where can everyone follow you on social media if they don't already know?
If you don't already, you can follow me. I'm on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. I believe they are all at Shelley Regner. Facebook might be Shelley Regner Official, but if you just type in my name, you'll find me on all those platforms. Those are my main 3.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining me on this.
Thank you for having me. It was so great to see you and talk to you, and hopefully we can have a big hug very soon at the Rockwell.
Yes.
And when we're seeing and watching and performing live theater again.
I was saying when Jordan Ross has like 500 shows that he's putting on at the same time.
Oh my God. He's busy. He's busy at work writing everything. We're going to be working so much once this quarantine lifts.
He's like, I have a show for this venue, this venue, this venue.
Right? Because he's watching all the movies right now. So he watches a movie and then he writes a script, and it's great.
And he's like, I have a cast ready for this one. And
Exactly. So let's bring it on.
Yeah, his mind is always creating something.
Have to.
And, thanks for watching this episode of Backstage with Becca B. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Becca B Talks TV, or for more exclusive content from this interview and more, you can follow me at Backstage with Becca B on Instagram and Facebook. Make sure to subscribe to my channel and like this video and comment below, and let me know who you want to see next. See y'all next time.